Hi all, in this video we are actually going to talk about a little bit of Python and an introduction. This could be called or thought like an introductory session to the Python. Okay, so we'll be learning about the little bit of Python programming language, the numbers and the basics in fact. And so what is Python? Python, as you all know, that it's a high level programming language, so it is never late to learn something. And so it is actually created by Guido van Rossum and released in 1991. And there are many applications for Python because of most of the AI based applications are basically run on Python, and the web development, software development, data analytics, system scripting, all those things are the major applications of Python. Now so Python can also be used for web applications. As you all know that you would have heard about Beautiful Soup and Flask and everything in Python, right? So they are used for web applications as well as such. And Python can be used alongside the software to create the workflows. It could be used for connection with databases and handle big data and perform complex mathematical algorithms like we see in artificial intelligence, deep learning and all those areas, and LLMs of course. And Python can also be used for rapid prototyping and for production ready software development. So Python syntax is one of the basic and easiest syntax. It is designed for mainly based keeping the thing readability in mind. So it has some similarities to the English language, so it's very close to a high level language. And it uses new lines to complete the command. Okay, and in some other programming languages like C, we have to put semicolons or parentheses to complete, but here new line basically acts like the end to complete a command. And semicolons are used here, but they are used basically to separate multiple statements on single line itself. And Python relies highly on indentation. So the white spaces, it is to define the scope or the life of that particular variable, and they are also used based on the life the variables based on the loops, functions and classes. And another thing which you have to keep in mind is that Python is case sensitive. Okay, so if you have a variable, it is capital AB, then that variable has to be capital AB. Like the variable small ab will be considered as a different variable. Now normally when we write a particular program in any programming languages as such, we need to compile that particular program, right? So when we compile a particular program, normally we do that in order to understand the bugs or the errors that you have actually done while writing that particular program. So as you all know that C uses C compiler, right? But Java uses interpreter, right? So there are two things, one is compiler, the other one is interpreter. What do you mean by a compiler? So you have written a particular program, so that is your input. So that is actually passed on to a compiler, and it compiles the code and gives you certain errors. Say what are the errors that are there in the program, that would be understood and will be given back to you. So here two things which you have to keep in mind is that you are actually giving the program as such to the compiler, and it converts into some hex code or some kind of code which the system can understand what are the issues which are there in the program that is written by you, and all of them will be given back to you. Like say if you have 100 errors, all the errors will be given back to you, or if you have 3 or 5 errors, that is also given back to you. But in the case of the interpreter, it's actually line by line checking of your code. So there the whole, in compiler you are giving the whole code as such, but here interpreter will do the error corrections then and there itself. So that means that interpreter basically goes for bug identification on a line by line basis. Alright. So Python is basically an interpreted programming language, and you can actually run Python in multiple ways. One is in the shell mode, other one is in the script mode. I will show you both. So the shell mode is basically by using the command prompt. in the command prompt you have to run your Python, you have to take your Python and run it. And the script is, you have a Python file and you have to run Python hello.py. Say hello.py is the name of the Python file and Python is the syntax. So, it is a keyword which you have to use. So, Python file name, that is how you have to run. So, now what we will do is that we will see how it is to, how we can run that. The first way is that, say I am right clicking, say I am in one of my folders, I am just right clicking and taking a text pad. Okay. So, I am just creating world, okay, and I can just keep it as a text itself and I can simply write print of world, right. So, this is your first Python program, and here if you want to convert it into a Python code, what you have to do is that you need to rename and change its extension. Okay, you need to change its extension to py file, py extension. This is the simplest way that even the students from very old. So, now it is actually changed to a Python file. So, if you look at the properties, you could see that it is a Python file, right. So, this is the simplest way of doing things. So, now so we have a file which is actually created. So, first I will show you the command prompt mode. So, I am just taking CMD, right. So, if I take the CMD, I can type Python. If I type Python, so now I am using Python 3.9, okay, and I am now in the Python prompt. How do you know that it is in the Python prompt? If you are in the Python prompt, you will have these 3 arrows which are here. So, now here what I am trying to do is that print of hello, welcome to the new series of Python, right. And if you do this, it will just print it. Say if I want to type 5 plus 6, 5 plus 6 will give me the answer. If I want to type A equal to 5, print A, will give me the answer. So, all these things basically could be done by using the Python prompt itself. So, this is one way of doing things. Okay. So, this is the way where we can actually do it from the Python prompt. So, now we are actually doing it with the help of the Python prompt itself, right. So, this is one way. Now, I will show you another way. So, another way is that we have the program in this external file. So, what we would do is that we will take the command prompt and I will go to the folder where my file exists. So, cd ml, okay, and sorry, where is my file? My file is basically okay here. So, I will just go to that particular folder. So, say C, okay, and so cd this one. So, if you want to change it to a new directory itself, you can actually go like this. So, here I am going to run my file Python. The name of the file is world.py, world.py, just give you the answer world, right. So, now actually this is another way of running it, okay. So, now what you have done is that you actually you are in the folder, you are in the place where your file resides and you are just calling Python whatever be the file name and it will print you the answer, right. So, this is another way. Now, there is another way that is nothing but you can use Anaconda, right. So, Anaconda Python. So, when you look at this Anaconda Python, okay, this is your python.anaconda.org. So, this is actually a distribution of Python and also R, okay. You have many packages, not only Python but also R, okay. So, this is actually called as a Anaconda consortium where you could actually learn about and learn more about Python, right. So, so you have free version also, otherwise you have extended pro enterprise versions as well, but you will also get the community version which is available. So that is what, you know, we are all using this community version as well. And now what you have to do is that say you have to install the Anaconda. Okay. So there is something called Anaconda Navigator. If you want, you can actually open it, you can actually install it. So now I have actually installed the Anaconda prompt, and I need to again go back to wherever location where my you know, where I need to start running. Say here, so probably all my programs are basically in one particular place called in the Django. Like so, this is where I want all my programs to be. So you can actually decide upon the path. So you are actually navigating to that particular path. Okay, you are navigating to that particular path, and then you are actually using Jupyter Notebook. So Jupyter Notebook you can actually easily download and install as well. So Jupyter Notebook is like an online you know, Python framework where you could run and do your programs. Another way of doing things is that if you have your programs, you know, you can even open your programs by using the IDLE. So this is the IDLE. So if you have installed Python, then automatically you will have the IDLE installed. Okay, so you can actually open the programs using IDLE. You could see this. See here, this is the IDLE. So you know, I have all the different varieties of Python here. So probably I will open with 3.7. right. So this is actually IDLE, which is when you install the Python, you will be able to get the you know, IDLE itself. It's IDLE. And now we will learn about the, so this is your, this is actually the Jupyter Notebook. So it basically uses a local host 8888, and the tree is nothing but it is actually showing all those files which are there in the folder itself. Now I am going to take this. So this opens like this, and it is actually powered by Python 3. I am using Python 3, and you can save your programs, you can run your program, right. And there is a kernel which is actually, if you are installing something, you will have to restart your kernel, right. You can reconnect it, you can shut down your kernel, you can change your kernel. Now we are using actually Python 3 kernel. So all those things are basically possible, right. Now getting back to the business. So these are the different ways of actually running Python, right, as you have understood. Now we will see a little bit of program. So I might not be going through all the contents here, but I will just tell you through the programs. So the first one is actually in the Python is there are two different type of there are different ways of showing the comment. Okay. So when you type something like this, your interpreter will ignore this. Okay, it will not run this. Okay, and this is the multi-line command. So whatever you type within these three triple backticks, you know, everything will be what is that, ignored. Okay, so if you are doing this one, and it will completely ignore or not even bother to print something, but if you are actually putting it in triple backticks, it will just print as such, you know, it will just print as such, you know, whatever it is, it will print as such. So that is how you could actually see here, this line is actually not printed, and but whatever is inside this triple backticks, that is actually printed. Now the next one which you need to know is that about you know, the printing. So when you are using the printing, it's a simple print command only, print of hello world. Okay, so if you type like this, and if you simply click the run, you will get your output. Okay, ma'am, can we use only this one, can we use double quotes? Yes, that is also, we will just try. So print of if I give hello, I am just typing something. Okay, and if you want to run this, it will also give you this one. So this quotes or, you know, double quotes doesn't have an doesn't have an impact. Okay, so both of them acts like the same. Now say this one. So this is nothing but if 5 greater than 2. So it's a selection. If 5 greater than 2, you don't have to put the parenthesis or anything like that. If 5 greater than 2, print, right? Say if you just imagine that you are putting like this and running, it will show you the error. So whenever you have some errors, don't get panic and move away from the errors. Try to read the error, and if you are not able to understand the error, take the error and search in the Google to find out the various answers, even from the Stack Overflow or something like that. So here it says that EOL while scanning the string literal. So EOL is end of the line. So you understood that it is not closed properly, right? So if you run this, so when you run such things, you should understand what is the error. Now the other thing which I wanted to tell you is that about the indentation. Say when you run this, it will tell you that expected and intended block. So you need to arrange your items properly in Python. So it is indentation is very important. So here the indentation is not proper, so that's why it is not running. Now say if everything is proper, when you run this particular program, it will simply give you everything in the proper way. And as I just told you, this is a single line comment and this is the multi-line comment, right? And now there is something called none in Python. So none is actually a return. None is a return value of the functions without a return value. So none is the return value of the functions without a return value. None is an object constant and a singleton. None could be checked with is or not equal to as all instance. None is the Python point to the same instance. So it is not pointing anywhere, it is actually pointing to itself. Okay ma'am, so can we make it clear? So the first thing which you have to understand is that it is not a 0 or a empty string literal. Okay, so none can help in identifying whether it is true or false. That means that it can be used for checking. And none, not none is not true. That means there is nothing called not none. So if you simply give none, okay, it is actually throwing you error. Why? Because Python does not know what is this null. Okay, so the spelling of the none is actually capital none. Okay, it is not small none. Okay, so here we have actually given everything in a small letters, but actually the capital none is a right one. So when you look at here, so for running, you don't have to actually click on that every time. You can actually click control enter. Okay, so control enter will even create a new this thing. Alt enter will create alt enter. If you click on the cell which you want to run, and if you click alt enter, it will run, and actually it will also give you a new cell. This is called as a cell. So if you want to delete the cell, you can select the cell and click here, so it will be deleted. Now there is something called control enter. So when you do the control enter, here, if you click the control enter, it will simply run that particular cell. If something has to be printed or outputted from the cell, that will be given. So control enter is for simply execution, simple execution of a particular cell. It will execute the cell, it will show the answer, but it will not create a new empty cell. But no ma'am, every time I run this particular cell, I want a new cell to be created underneath. Then go for alt enter. So alt enter will run it, and it will also produce a new cell. Okay, so now what is a type? So what is a type of, say if I simply give a is equal to, say okay, so type of none is nothing but the data type of the none. Okay, here just says that about the data type none. Okay, so type of the none is actually none type itself. So it is not integer, or it is not a float, or it is not a character or a string. It is of the type none. So none type is, there is something called none type in Python. Okay, now you can actually, if you want to know more about it, you can go to the W3S schools website, and they have actually given. So none keyword is used to define a none value or no value at all. None value or no value at all. None is not same as 0 or false or an empty string. This is very important. And none is a data type of its own type. So none is of the data type none. That's all. So only none can be none. There can be anything. So say if you imagine that you have something called x is equal to none and print of x. So what are you supposed to? So if you do the control enter, you will get none. That's it. Now you can use it for checking. right? So you can use it for checking. So none is equal to null, null is null. So is also for equality checking, equal to is also for equality checking. So when you run this particular thing, you will get true, true. Okay, none is equal to false, it will throw you false because none is equal to none, none is not equal to false. Say if I do alt enter here, and if I am printing print none is true. Okay, if I print that, okay, what would be the expected answer? Can anyone think and tell me? Yes, it is false because none is not true or none is not false, none is actually done. Okay, only this will work, right? So these two will throw you an answer for false. Now none not equal to 50. Yes, it is not equal to 50, right? It is actually true, right? And can I have a not null operation associated with the none? No, it is not possible. It will throw you an error stating that it is an invalid syntax. Okay, now when you look at it, so is none true or false? So this is the same example which we have seen. So it's just written in an elaborate way, that's all. So x is equal to none. So x is actually, this is a simple assignment in Python. Okay, this is an assignment statement in Python. Equal to is the assignment operator in Python as in your C programming. So whatever be the value on the left side, that will be assigned to the value on the right side, will be assigned to the value on the left side. That's it. So if x means if none, right? So do you think none is true? Else, this is elif is nothing but else if. Elif is nothing but else if x is false, right? Do you think x is false, right? None is false. And then comes the default condition. So if you are using the default else, then you have to type the else and then a semicolon. So this is your if else clause. If else clause, in that you can have multiple else if, else if, else if, else if. So here the keyword for else if in Python is elif. Okay, so all these things you need to understand. Now when you run this, it will say that it doesn't fall onto true or doesn't fall onto false, it falls onto the default case, that is none is not true, neither it is true or false, it is just none itself. Now comes the assignment operators. So when you look at the assignment operators, you don't have to declare it exactly separately as in the other programming languages. Say in C you all know that int a, right? Then a is equal to 5. Otherwise, so if you are simply using a is equal to 5 in your programming language, in the C programming language, it will say that the variable which is assigned is not declared. So I don't know who is this. So declaration means you are just declaring that, okay, you are just telling the compiler that hello, there is one person called a and he is integer variable and he may be assigned with some integer values on the go. So you are just telling that don't throw error. Okay, you understand that it is a variable which is actually used in our program. But in the case of Python, you don't have to do this declaration separately. Okay, so declaration is actually kind of inbuilt. So if you are giving x is equal to 5, the Python interpreter will interpret, okay, 5, it is 5, so it is an integer. So x might be of the data type integer. So it will understand and use it accordingly, right? And then the other one is that, say x is equal to John. So this is string, right? So you don't have to say like string y, then y is equal to what? John, or string y equal to John. You don't have to use such kind of declarations. Okay. So instead, when you declare, when you assign itself, the interpreter will understand what the data type of the variable is and will not throw an error, right? So when you run this, you are getting 5 and John. Now, if you look at type of the x, it is integer only. So automatically it is actually taken as integer, right? So now when you simply give type of y, okay, it will give you the answer str. So it's a string, right? So this is something which you need to keep in mind. So shift enter, it is to run the current cell, and you can also use control enter. And alt enter, it will run the current cell, at the same time it will generate a new cell as well. Okay. So what is this? This is a multi-line command. Okay. Now we are going to see about, so this is exactly the thing which we have actually seen. Now the other thing which you have to understand in Python is that multiple assignments are possible. So how can you do the multiple assignments? Multiple assignments to multiple variables are possible with the help of the comma operator. Okay, you can use comma operator for doing that. Say now when you look at here, so you have this x, y, z, right? So x, y, z is actually given with the values orange, banana and cherry. So orange is actually assigned to x, banana is assigned to y and cherry is assigned to z, right? Now you are printing everything. So what you will get? You will get all these three values. Now I want to assign everything with the same value, ma'am. I have multiple variables, but all the variables need to be assigned with the same value, ma'am. Is that an easier way for doing it? Yes. So that you could do it with a simple assignment operator itself, right? And now the next one is that concatenation. So if both the say the type of the variables or type of the values that you are actually concatenating, if they are same, it could be concatenated without any issue. Okay. So just imagine that I am just doing an alt enter here and I am just trying to copy this. Okay. And now instead of string, so this is string, right? So instead of this I am trying to just put 5. So what is the type of the 5 here? Type of the 5 is actually integer. If you print, okay, print type of 5, right? Type of 5, what will happen? It will just throw you an error that hello, come on, you have used this 5 because you are actually trying to concatenate this. See here, if you want that to be printed, what you have to do is that you have to put it above, otherwise it will not work. It will throw you an error. So it will say it is class int, but the second line is actually what? It's an error. Can concatenate string, not int to string. So understand that you are trying to concatenate a string and an integer, which is not actually possible. Okay. So there is a type error. So if you are making it into what? If you are making it into a string, how can you make it a number also into a string? So now if you put like this is actually a string, this is not an integer. Even though the value is a number, now this will act like a integer. Its box is actually integer, but if you are removing this, okay, now what happens? It's an integer, right? So this is something which you have to keep in mind. Okay. Now the next one is that, as I told you, the single quotes and the double quotes doesn't matter, it will throw you the right answer. Another thing which you have to keep in mind is about the slicing operator. So the slicing operator will always have a start, stop and the step. Okay. So what do you mean by the stop? Stop is the ending index where the slicing of the object has to stop, and step is the optional argument that determines the increment between the index for slicing. So how many slices you need to make, in which intervals you need to make, that's the meaning of the step. And return type, and that's an optional one. Step is optional, and return type is nothing but returns a sliced object containing the elements, right? So string slicing, so normally we does it with string slicing. Okay. So when we will just look at certain examples. So b is equal to hello world, right? So in this 0, so always indexing will start with 0. So when you look at it, this h will be 0, 1, 2, 3, this is 4 and this is 5th index. This comma is important. 5th index, this is 6th index, this is 7th index, 8, 9, 10, it goes like that. So this is your 7th index. So this O is the 7th index and L is the 2nd index, right? Now when we run this particular program, you are getting L, L, O, W. Why we are not getting O? Yeah, that is how it is actually built. Okay, we didn't build it. Why? Because we have to start from 2 and end by 7. So end by 7 means we are ending just before that. So we will start with 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and this is the 7th one, but we will not take the 7th one, we will stop it by 6. Okay. So now when you look at this example, so a string, so 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? So slice of 3 means what will happen? Slice of 3 will simply give you, so here you are printing this, right? So print, what is that? Print string slicing. Now see here, print string of S1. You have to give string of S1. So when you look at here, it is actually 3. So 1, 2, 3, right? So it will be printing AST. So 0, 1, 2, this R is actually the 3, but it will stop just before that. Now slice of 1, 5 and 2. So what is the meaning of 1, 5? 1, 5 means it will start with 0, 1. Okay, 1 to 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we will get like STRI, right? STRI. So STRI is actually the answer, but we have actually given what? A step 2, right? So step 2 means you will, skip and go with the second one. So 1 to 5, in that you have to skip every second one. So you will start with S, you will skip the next one, then you will start with R, you will skip the second one, right? So you will get your answer as S and R. Okay. So now another easier example is that, say Mahmood. Okay. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? So 0, 1, 2. So 2 to minus 1. Another thing is the Python has got reverse indexing. Okay. So Python has got reverse indexing. It is not only the positive indexing. So continuing with the examples, right? So in this example, so name is equal to Mahmood, right? So this is what we were actually talking about. So here you could see that the indexing also comes with this -1, right? So what I wanted to tell you is that Python has got this negative indexing. Okay, so Python have got the negative indexing also. So that means that, say, if you have a word like foobar, so foobar is the common term which is actually very commonly used, right? So if you look at this FOOBAR, right, it has got positive and negative indices. So that means that it starts with a 0, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you can also have bidirectional indexing, I mean like negative indexing, -1, -2, -3, -4, -5, -6. So when you look at here, this example like Mahmood, name of 2 is to 1 is to -1. So 0, 0, 1, 2. So we will start from here till -1. So O, B, A will be the answer, because we already know that if it is -1, then we will stop just before that, right? So this is nothing but the string slicing. So in string slicing, the main thing which you have to understand is that you can have both positive or negative indices, right? Say now if I run this particular thing, that is control enter, and here say instead of this -1, if I give 6, it just gives me the right answer. So it's all the same. Okay, so both this -1 and the 6, say if you look at it, so 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? So 6 is the last one, that's 6, and this -1 is almost the same, all the same. Now here also if you could see, say hello world, I am not giving any index at all. So if I am not giving any index at all, it will take it as by default it as 0. So even if I explicitly give an index here, or if I give 0, it is all the same, you are getting the same answers. So like that you can actually make your hands dirty and try a little bit more. Next comes the formatting. It is nothing but the string formatting. So as you all know that you can print by using the formatting, right? So my name is, say you are actually giving this curly braces and I am, and you are actually in the print you are actually giving x is this variable name dot format. Format is a function name where you are actually providing two different values. So whatever be the values which you are provided here, so it will take the first value in the first format and the second one in the second, that's all. So my name is Abdullah and I am 19 years old, right? Now comes, you can do also the arithmetic operations in this. So x is equal to 5 and you are actually doing it just directly during the print itself, you are doing this like 5 into 3, it's possible. So all these things are actually possible, 5 divided by 5 and all this stuff. And this one is actually your modulus operator and this is your raised to or exponent operator. So all these arithmetic operations are possible even during the print. Now comes to sequencing. So when you look at sequencing, say x is equal to, so you are starting with a square brackets, and you have apple, which is actually a string, and banana another string, and actually it is separated by comma operator. Now print banana in x, you are checking. So this is actually kind of a checking. So when you are checking, it just gives you true. Say I'm checking, I'm just taking the whole thing as such. Now I am checking print Sini in x. Okay, so it will give you a false. So it is not there, that's it. Okay. Now I can also give you another example, like say print nothing, okay, in X, okay, it will give you a false because you don't have any free space there. Now again I want to give you one more example, alt enter, where you are actually trying to print banana in X, okay, and you're doing, so it's false. Why this banana is not there? Because it is a small banana, so it's case sensitive, right? So this will give you false. So all these things, you know, you need to try and make your hands dirty, you know, think in all the possible ways and try all the possible examples if you get. Now the next one, you can also try for not in, that is also possible. So not in, yes, it is not in, so you will get a true, right? Now the other one is that, you know, the identity operator. So identity operators is now is and is not. So they are, this is and is not is basically called as, are called as identity operator. So you have a sequence apple banana, you have another sequence apple banana, right? So here what you have to understand is that, so you are actually given with X as the apple banana and Y apple banana and Z is equal to X. So basically what happens is that, okay, you will you will have a box, okay, there is one box, okay, there is one box which is called X, this is one box X, okay, which has got apple banana, and there is another box, okay, there is another box, and this box is called as Y, okay, this box is called as Y, and this has also got apple banana. Now you have something called Z, okay, you are actually got something called Z, but this Z is actually pointing where? This Z is actually pointing to this X, right? So this is actually the structural representation of your X and Y. So there is a box X which has got some values, some contents, that is apple banana. Y is another box which has got its contents, and Z is equal to X. That means that X is now assigned to Z. That means Z is also pointing to the same box with the apple and banana. So keeping this in mind, I will take you to this example. Okay, now you are actually checking here, so they are identity operators, so you are checking here X is Z, you are checking whether X is Z. So what should be the answer that you will get? Both X and Z, both of them are actually pointing to the same thing. So what is the answer that you are going to get? You will get a true. Okay, now you are checking whether X is Y. Okay, here you will get a false. Why you are getting the false? Because X is not the same object as Y, both of them, even though they have the same content. So you are not checking the content, you are actually checking whether they are pointing to the same location, right? And you can also demonstrate, I mean, like print X equal to Y. Okay, so when you check print X equal to Y, then what are you doing? You are actually checking, okay, you are checking the contents and you are getting the answer it as true. You getting it? So is an identity operator which will simply check whether these two objects are the same. You are not actually worried about the content, okay, but when you are actually looking X equal to Y, you are actually worried about the content as well, right? So this is an important example which you have to keep in mind. Now comes the list. So list, you know, it's exactly like your sequences which you have just seen. So the sequences basically you know, it's given in the square brackets. So list also comes with the square brackets. So understand that list will also come in the square bracket. It's very, very important. So this is a list, you are given with a my list. When you are actually printing it, you will get a list as such, right? Now how can you create a list? You can simply assign, as you are simply assigning A is equal to 5, like that you can assign this list is equal to apple, banana, cherry, which is actually each one of them. It's a string list. And when you print this, you will get the answer. Okay, so some theoretical contents here. So list items are basically ordered. Okay, they are changeable, that means they are mutable and allow duplicate values. So they doesn't matter if you have multiple values, you know, the similar kind of values, doesn't matter. List items are indexed, that means it will start with 0 and it will just keep moving on. So the first this will be the index 0, 1, 2, 3, it just goes like that. And list literals are written within square brackets. Okay, and list works very similar to the strings. Okay, so it can have this len function. Len is length of the you know, string functions, and all this stuff is basically possible. Now we will see. So you have a list, right? This is the list which is actually given to you, right? When you print this list, you are getting everything, right? Now, if you want to print the number of the items in the list, what you have to use? You have to use this function called the len of this list. So that will just give you, say how many items are there? 1, 2, 3. 3 items are there. So you will get the answer as 3. Now, can I use loop in the list, ma'am? Yes, you can iterate the list. Okay, I don't want to print it one by one. Instead, can I use a loop or an iterative technique in order to traverse through the elements of the list? Yes, that is possible. How can I do that? Yes. So for x in this list, that means for each and every element in this list, what you have to do? You need to print it, right? So for x in this list, so you are taking the first value, you are printing it, then you are taking the second value, then you are printing it, then you are taking the third value. So you are traversing through the list one by one. Now, can I append, ma'am? Yes, you can append, because change is possible, right? You are allowed to change. You can, it's a mutable thing, so you can change. So if you have a list, if you want to append, it will automatically append at the back of this, right? So list can increase its size, no problem. Now, if you have two lists, can I append, ma'am? Yes, you can append it. Okay, but understand the second one which you are appending is, here it was just a string, right? Here it's a list itself. So one of your element in your original list, your outer list will be in the, you will have an element as a list itself. Okay. Now comes the concepts called tuples. Okay, always understand list is with the square brackets, and now comes the tuples. Tuples, it's again like a list of ordered and immutable. Okay, ordered and immutable. That means that your tuple cannot change its size. Once you have fixed its size, you cannot change its size, right? So say tuples are represented in parentheses or braces. Okay, so now this tuple, you have got this. So when you print this, you will get exactly like this. Okay, so ma'am, how can I understand the difference between a list and a tuple? Yes, this is a tuple because it has got a parenthesis. In the list, you had a square bracket, right? Now, the key difference between the tuple and the list is that the tuples are immutable objects. Okay, lists are mutable. Okay, what do you mean by this immutable, ma'am? That means that the tuples cannot change while the list can be modified. Say, I can append an element to the list, okay, but I will not be able to do that in tuple. But tuples are more memory efficient than the list. So can we try that? Yes. For that, what we will do is that first we will go with the solution. So first one is actually slicing operation. So slicing operation is basically possible in the list. Say you are given with a tuple like apple, banana and all this. So this is your tuple. So can I do the slice operation in this, ma'am? Yes, it is possible because this is 0th element, first element, second element, third element, fourth element, fifth element, sixth element, right? So this is how it is. Now I'm doing a slicing operation from 2 to 5. So 0, 1, 2. So I should get my answer as 2, 3, 4 and till 5 it is actually. So whenever if it is 5, then I will stop just one before. So my answer will be cherry, orange and kiwi. Yes, we got cherry, orange and kiwi, right? Now, is looping possible or traversing possible in tuple as well? Yes, it is possible. So you have a tuple, okay. Always understand tuple is within the parentheses or braces. So for x in tuple, what will do? Each one you can actually print, right? Now, can I understand the index of the tuple, ma'am? Yes, because this is the name of your tuple and there is a function called dot index. So if you call dot index of banana, it will give you the index 1. Why it is 1? Because this is 0, this is 1, this is 2, this is again 5. Ma'am, is this repetition possible in duplication possible in my tuple? Yes, it is possible. Now the next one is that whether the tuples are mutable or not. Say when you did the same thing in when you are trying to append in list, okay, it didn't throw any issues. It simply appended the list because the size of your original list is only 3, right? This is list only 3. Now you are adding one more thing, so you need space for orange also. So it is automatically expanded. It has automatically expanded. But when you look at the tuple here, okay, tuples are immutable, does not support item creation. So see here you have a tuple, banana, apple and apple, banana and cherry. Now you are trying to incorporate this orange as the third one, okay, as a fourth element in this particular tuple. So what is it giving? It is giving you an error that tuple object does not support item assignment. It is not possible to assign like that. So that's why we are saying like lists are mutable. It can expand, but or it supports the item creation, but tuples does not support item creation. Okay. Now the next one. So you have this we have already seen, right? Yes. Now comes the third one. So first we have seen list with the square brackets. Then we have seen tuple. Okay. In the tuple, basically it is given in parenthesis. Now comes the third one, which is set. Okay. Set is again a collection of unique items which is unordered and unindexed. Okay. It is unordered and unindexed. List, it is ordered but mutable, right? And it is also indexed. And tuple, it is ordered, it is indexed, and it is also immutable, right? Now we are actually talking about set. Set is actually unordered and unindexed. Okay. And how can I know that it is a set, ma'am? Because it comes in a curly braces, like your normal mathematics set. Okay. It comes in a this thing. So when you look at this set, okay. So you will have apple, banana, cherry, but actually it is actually given in curly braces, right? When you print this, you will get this as a set. Now, can I traverse through this in a set, ma'am? Yes, it's all the same. For x in this set, I can go through apple, so I will get apple, banana, cherry one by one. It's all the same. Now, can I add orange to this, ma'am? Okay, can I add orange to this? Yes, orange will be added. Now, it is actually added at the beginning of your list. Okay, it is actually added at the beginning of my list. Okay, now you are trying to add element to this particular list, which is actually again a list. So these are all strings, right? So here when you look at this particular example, I have all these elements in the list in the set are nothing but strings. So I also try to add another string to this list. So it's all of the same type, right? Now I am trying to add an element which is actually, see here, one element which is actually not a string, but it is a list. Even though the element inside the small list is string, the outer element, the type of this, say if I simply type, I will just show you that. If I type print what is that, list. Okay, print list, print type of list. Okay, I am typing print type of list, cut here. Okay, now I am also printing the same thing, but this one I am just putting this inside this. Now we will print this. See here, the first one is a string, right? But the second one, what is the type which is given? The second one is a list. So here the elements which all the other elements are actually string, and this element is a list element, right? So when I am trying to add like that, what is it actually saying? Cannot be an element and will throw error. Okay, so unhashable type list. Hello, come on. Now in your set you can actually have all the elements which are of the unique items. Okay, everybody should be of what? Should be of the same type, right? But now you are trying to include somebody else which is actually, what is that, which is not which is not part of your this thing, right? So now your actually list is basically apple, banana, this set. So if you print here, your this set is actually orange, apple, banana, cherry, etc. Now you are suddenly trying to alter your list. This is not possible. Okay, so that is what actually they are saying there. Now an example of the set using tuple. So here you are trying to add a tuple, right? When you are actually trying to add a tuple, that is actually possible. Okay, so example of the set using tuple, which is immutable, right? So can be an element and will not throw error. So this is something which you have to keep in mind. Okay, now when you are trying to add another set, okay, what happens? It will throw you an error. Okay, so understand, if it is a set, it will throw you an error, and if it is a list, it will throw you an error. If it is a tuple, it will not throw you an error. Okay, now comes to the next one which is nothing but dictionaries. Okay, so the next one is dictionary. So dictionary is a bit different, but still it all comes as, and this is something which we will use very commonly in MongoDB, right? Because in MongoDB we store everything as a key value pair. Okay, So dictionary is a key value pair collection which is unordered, mutable and indexed. So that means that you have a dictionary name and you have key 1 value 1, key 2 value 2, and how will they be given? Key 1 colon value 1, key 2 colon value 2. This is the structure which you have to follow, and this is again within what? Within the curly braces. Okay, and if you print you will get your dictionary. So now we will see an example of the dictionary. So when you look at the example of the dictionary, say this is a country capitals dictionary. So in this dictionary you have United States, which is Washington DC. So the country and its corresponding capital, Italy and Rome, then England and London, right? So this is a key value pair, okay, country and its capital, key value pairs. Now you are printing the dictionary. When you print the dictionary, what will happen? You will get it as a key value pair which is actually given in a curly brace. Now dictionaries are written within. So this is again the same thing only. But here you have a brand and a car, right? So about a car. So what is the brand of the car? What is the model of the car? What is the year of the car? So all this information is basically given. So when you look at it, you will actually print it as a key value pair. Now dictionaries cannot have two items with the same key, because key is the one which will actually differentiate the key value pairs. So they have to be unique. Okay. So now say you can have an example like, ma'am, no, I accidentally gave it like year is equal to 1964, year is equal to 2020. So what will happen? Say if there is an duplication in the keys, it will be overwritten. Okay. So what happens is that overriding will happen, only the latest value will be taken. So this will be lost and only this value will be written. So your brand is Ford, model is Mustang and year is 2020. Okay. Now the next one is that I have nested dictionaries. Nested dictionaries means you can have one of your child itself as another dictionary. That means this is your key, right? This is your key. After this colon, this is your value. The value itself is a dictionary, right? So this is your key. The value itself is a dictionary, right? So like that it is actually possible. So when you print this my value, it will give you child. So your value itself is a dictionary, then child 2 value itself is a dictionary, child 3 value itself is a dictionary. Now can I add multiple dictionaries to a new dictionary? Yes, that is also possible. So now when you look at it here, say the child, and this is the, so child 1 is the dictionary name, right? So now when you look at it, so inside this set, okay, inside the set you have name and then ML, right? And then year 2004. Now this is your child 2, you have this, right? Now you have actually, so child 1 is actually this set of name value pairs, child 2 is this set of name value pairs, child 3 is this set of name value pairs. Now see here in the family what I am doing, child 1 is child 1, see here this dictionary. So this child 1 itself is a dictionary, right? And child 2 itself is a dictionary, child 3 itself is a dictionary. So is this possible? Yes, this is actually possible. So if you print the my family, you will get it. So basically you will get it like this. So your my family will be child 1, then that whatever is there inside, it will all the name and the year will come accordingly. So this is how it is actually printed. So this one you will have to play a little bit more around to understand and identify how it works. Okay. So sets, dictionaries, list, tuples, everything you have to actually give a little bit more time, go to W3 schools, go to programmers. So there are different websites which actually talks about it. So try to understand why is it happening, what is the difference between all those. So you can actually make your hands dirty a little bit more and try to understand this. Now comes the last one, because nothing but the functions. Okay. So as you all know that functions are easier concepts. Functions will make your life easy, or function is basically used for reusability, right? So that is why we basically go for functions. So whenever we have a function, we need to define a function. So this def is nothing but defining a function, right? And what is this my function? My function is nothing but the name of the function, right? And within the parenthesis, actually you are giving the arguments of your function. So they are called as the formal arguments. Okay, these are the formal arguments to the function. So these are the formal people who will accept whatever actual values which are given to you, right? So these are called as the formal arguments. So this is your whole function. Okay, my function of f name. So my function, my underscore function is a function name which will accept two arguments. One is f name, one is l name, right? And then colon. Now you are defining this particular function. What are you defining? So this is actually given as a key value pair, right? So what are you defining it as? This is defined as this one. What is that? You will simply print your f name, then space, last name. Okay. So the body of your function is as simple as that. You will simply print f name, the first name, a space, and the second name. That's all. Now, where can I get the values for this f name and l name? Then you have to have a function call. Okay, you need to call this function. So when the interpreter see this, what will happen? While execution, when you see this, this control will go to here. So this is the function call. You are calling this function. Okay, you are calling this function my function, and what will you pass? For f name you will pass the first argument, for l name you will pass the second argument. Okay, so now what will happen, ma'am? What is output? Output is nothing but it will take the Noora space Sini, that will be printed. Okay, so say if you could see that Sini space Raja, I will print my name itself. Okay, so if I do like that, okay, what will happen? It will actually print this way. Okay, so my name will be printed, right? So this is a function. So now if the number of the arguments is unknown, you don't know the number of the arguments, so what will you do? You will actually give it as a star kids. That means that you don't know how many kids, so you can have 100 kids, or you can have 3 kids or 4 kids or whatever it is, or maybe only 1 kid, no kid at all, right? So the youngest child is kids of 2, so say Noora will be 0, 1, 2, right? 2 will be printed. Now this is again another function, so you are defining the function, and my function, it takes how many arguments? 1 argument. This is the body of the function. So in the body of the function, what are you doing? You are simply returning, you are directly returning return value. The return value of the function is 5 into this value which is actually given. So if I give my function, if you are calling my function of 3, what will happen? The call will reach here. So this is the actual parameter and this is the formal parameter. The parameters which is there in the function definition. This is a function definition, right? And the function definition is called as the formal parameter, and the function, the values which are actually passed during the function call are called as actual parameters. So 3 is actually passed here. Now what will happen? It will return 5 into it. It's not storing anywhere. It is just return. It is just giving the return. Where will the control go? This return will again come back here, right? So 5 into 3, 15, and that is directly printed, right? So this is how it works. Now you can also have break statements. Okay, so we can actually stop the loop with the help of a break, right? So you would have learned this break in Java as well. So say you have a fruits. This is a list of the fruits. So you have apple, banana, cherry, right? Now you are traversing through each one. So for X in fruits, right? So you are actually traversing through it. So what you will do is that you will print apple, banana, cherry. But what you want to do is that while printing this, you need to check whether the value which you actually got is actually banana. If it is banana, you need to break from the loop. You don't have to print cherry any further, right? So that is why it is happening. So it will take apple, okay, and it will check whether it will print apple. Then it will check apple is equal to banana. No. So what it will do? It will again traverse to the next one. So banana is equal to banana. So what it has to be done? It has to simply break. Okay, so it will print it and then break. So apple, banana will be printed and then break. Okay. Now another function which you need to know is a range function. So range is actually loop through a set of code a specified number of times. So you will go through a code a specified number of times and we can use the range function. Okay, so range function returns a sequence. It is just a sequence of numbers starting from 0 to its default value which is actually given, and it will increment by 1 and ends at the specific number. Say if you give 4x in range 6. So you are not giving anything else. You are not giving like this one, that one, or anything like that. Simply you are printing a range, and whatever be the number of the values in the range, you are just printing it. So from x in range. So what you have to do? You will start from 0 and you will go till 5. Okay, you will start from 0 till 5. So when you look at it, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 numbers are there, but as your indexing start from 0, you will start from 0 to 5. So 6 numbers will be printed. Now comes the nested loops. So nested loop is actually a loop inside another loop, right? Inner loop. So inner loop will be executed for each iteration of the outer loop, right? So just imagine that you have this ADJ which has got red, big, tasty, and you have fruits which is apple, banana, cherry. There are 2 different lists. Now you have to traverse through the first. You all know this, how this happens, right? Say I am just doing this. So that means I am just commenting it. So when you look like this, okay, when you look in this, say if I am printing only y, okay, what will happen? You will take this y, right? Y in fruits. So y is in fruit. So it will take apple, banana. So what will be the output for this? You will simply print what? You will simply print this one, because that is actually already commented. So it is actually telling like your indentation is not correct. Okay. So that's why it is actually throwing you that error, right? So see, if my print is here, it is print, and here it is, right? So now it is fine. So now if I am printing it, what happens? It will simply print apple, banana, cherry. Now I want to print red apple, red banana, red cherry. I need to print big apple, big banana, big cherry, tasty apple, tasty banana, tasty cherry. How can I do that? Now for that, when I am in the first element of what? When I am in the first element of ADJ, what I need to do? Okay, what I need to do? I need to traverse through the second list. Now, while I am traversing through each one, how should I print it? I should print red apple, okay, red banana, red cherry, right? So what I will do is that I will make an outer loop. Okay, what is my outer loop? What is my outer loop? In my outer loop, I will traverse through each and every element. So I will traverse through red, big, tasty. But when I am reaching the red, what I need to do? I need to traverse through each one of the element in the second list. So I have another loop which will traverse through each one of them. Now, when I am in red, when I am traversing all those elements, how I need to print? I want to print it like x, y. Okay. So when you look at this one, see, I am in x. So that means the first one, red. Now I am traversing through the list, the second list fruits by using this loop, right? So apple. When I am in the apple, what I need to print? I need to print red apple, right? Now this loop is not yet over, because still it has not finished the list, right? Now it will go to, it is, the outer loop is still in the red. The second loop is in the banana now. So it will print red banana. Now this is not over. So now what will do? It will print, it is still in the red. So red cherry. Now this loop is over. So now what you have to do? Now you need to again traverse to the second element. You have traversed only through the first element. You have to traverse through the second element. So again you will start your second iteration for the inner loop. Alright. So now you are in the big. So in the big you will actually traverse through apple, banana, cherry. Now you are in the tasty, you will again traverse through apple, banana, cherry. So when everything is over, it will come out from the loop. So this is nothing but the nested loop. Okay. So we have actually learned a lot about almost all the basics which is required for the Python. Okay. So we have learned about the various concatenation, the slicing operation, the dictionary. So you have this list set, everything, but the main thing which you require for your Django or your MongoDB is nothing but it's a non-relational database. It is basically the dictionaries. So you can actually play a little bit more with the dictionary section. You can understand what is a looping, what is nested loops, what is the nested dictionaries and all those stuff a little bit more. And please go through it and go to W3 dictionary, W3 schools, and the W3 resources. There are so many resources which are actually available out there. You can try a little bit of programs also with the dictionaries and make your hands dirty, and then get back to me if you have any doubts. Thank you so much. Hope you got a glimpse about it. So I have already shared you with the link for this demo sheet. So you can actually open it parallelly and you can look at the video and you can actually play for yourself. Okay. All the best. Thank you so much.